When your dog gets fed at random times, do you actually know what that means? You might think it's no big deal, just feeding them whenever is convenient. Maybe even showing flexibility or care. But behind that simple routine, there's something deeper that most dog owners completely miss. It's one of the most instinctive and vulnerable parts of your dog's daily life. And if you misunderstand it, which most owners do, you might slowly create anxiety and confusion without even realizing it. Let's start with what this behavior really means. 1. It's not about food. It's about security. You come home late one day and feed your dog at 9 p.m. The next day, it's 6 p.m. Sometimes earlier, sometimes much later. Most people think it's about food. As long as the bowl gets filled, everything is fine, right? Here's what's actually happening to your dog. Feeding time is not just about eating. It's a predictable anchor in their day. It's one of the few moments they can rely on with certainty. When that timing keeps changing, your dog doesn't just feel hungry. They feel unsure. Emotionally, it creates a subtle tension, a quiet question in their mind. When is my next moment of safety coming? Think about that for a second. In the wild, survival depends on patterns. Food doesn't appear randomly. It follows structure, hunting cycles, pack coordination, timing. When you remove that structure, even unintentionally, your dog's brain shifts into uncertainty mode. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. You're not just the one who feeds them. You are the one who defines their world's stability. And when that stability feels unpredictable, everything else starts to feel slightly off. Their brain is built for routine, not flexibility. Have you ever noticed your dog starting to hover around you before feeding time? Watching you, following you, waiting. Most people assume they're just being impatient. Here's what's actually happening. A 2019 study in animal behavior research found that dogs thrive on consistent daily routines because their internal clocks, yes, dogs, have them are highly sensitive to repetition. Their brain learns patterns fast, and once learned, those patterns become expectations. But here's the part that matters. When those expectations are broken repeatedly, it doesn't just reset the clock. It creates stress. Emotionally, your dog isn't thinking, "Oh, schedule change." They're thinking, "Something isn't right." Think about that for a second. Dogs don't understand your calendar, your traffic, or your busy day. They understand rhythm. Consistency tells them, this world is safe. Things happen when they should. But inconsistency tells them, I don't know what's coming next. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. You are their timekeeper. You are the rhythm they trust. And when that rhythm breaks, even slightly, their sense of calm starts to crack. 3. Food time is a pack signal. Have you ever noticed your dog becomes more alert, more focused, even more attached to you right before meals? Most people think they're just excited for food. Here's what's actually happening. In pack dynamics, food distribution is not random. It's structured. It's hierarchical. It's predictable. And more importantly, its social dogs rely heavily on scent, proximity, and repeated interactions to define relationships. Feeding time is one of the strongest bonding rituals you have with your dog. It's not just about nutrition. It's about connection. Emotionally, when feeding happens consistently, your dog associates you with reliability and leadership. You become their safe base. Think about that for a second. Every time you feed your dog, at the same time, in the same way, you reinforce one powerful message. You can trust me. But when it's inconsistent, that message becomes weaker. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. You're not just giving food, you're defining your role in their pack. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more dog owners who actually want to understand what their dog is really saying. 4. This comes from their wildest instincts. Imagine a group of wild dogs or wolves preparing to eat. There's tension, awareness, order. Most people don't realize that instinct never disappeared. Here's what's actually happening. Even domestic dogs still carry the behavioral blueprint of their ancestors. Feeding time activates ancient survival instincts. It's a moment where vulnerability and survival collide. Because when a dog eats, they are temporarily less alert, less guarded. That means they need to feel safe. Emotionally predictable feeding times reduce that vulnerability. They allow your dog to relax into the moment instead of staying slightly on edge. Think about that for a second. If feeding feels random, your dog's brain stays in a mild state of alertness. Not panic, but not fully relaxed either. And over time, that builds into subtle anxiety. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. You are either the one who creates safety during their most vulnerable moments, or the one who makes those moments feel uncertain. 5. They don't react this way with everyone. Have you ever had someone else feed your dog? And suddenly, your dog seems different. Less focused, less calm, maybe even hesitant. Most people think they're just not used to that person. Here's what's actually happening. Dogs don't attach meaning to feeding the same way with everyone. They build that connection specifically with you because it's not just about the act. Emotionally, your dog's feeding time with your identity, your voice, your smell, your timing. Think about that for a second. When you're consistent, feeding becomes a shared ritual, a moment that reinforces your bond. But when it's inconsistent, that ritual starts to fade. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. You're not replaceable in that moment, but you can become less predictable. And predictability is everything to a dog. 6. This is really about trust, not hunger. Let's go deeper. Because this isn't really about food anymore. Most people believe, as long as my dog eats, they're fine. Here's what's actually happening. Feeding consistency directly impacts trust. A 2021 canine cognition study found that dogs form stronger emotional bonds with humans who provide predictable outcomes in daily routines, not just food. And here's the emotional truth. Your dog isn't just trusting you to feed them. They're trusting you to make sense of their world. Think about that for a second. Every consistent meal says, "You can rely on me." Every inconsistent one says, "Things might change, and you won't know when." And over time, that shapes how secure your dog feels around you. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. You are either a stable anchor or a source of unpredictability. If this changes suddenly, pay attention. And by the way, if your dog suddenly stops showing interest in feeding time, don't ignore it. Well, come back to that now, because it means more than most people realize. Most people think they're just not hungry today. Here's what's actually happening. A sudden change in feeding behavior can signal emotional stress or even health issues, because feeding is such a deeply ingrained routine. Any disruption often reflects something deeper. Emotionally, it could mean your dog no longer feels fully secure. Physically, it could signal discomfort or illness. Think about that for a second. It's never random. And what this reveals about how your dog sees you. They might be trying to tell you something in the only way they know how. Don't ignore this. So next time your dog waits for their meal or looks at you at the same time every day. Remember what's really happening. It's not just hunger. It's not just routine. It's not a simple feeding habit. That's your dog searching for stability, for structure, for trust, and that behavior. It was never small to your dog, and it shouldn't be small to you either.